WWE superstar and WrestleMania main eventer Cody Rhodes confirms he has signed a multi-year contract extension with WWE. We'll let you know all of the details about that. Matt Cardona shockingly answers Adam Copeland's Cope Open last night on AEW Collision. He is always ready, but is he all elite? We'll let you know if indeed he is. An audible was reportedly called last night for the match finish for the Big Bill and Ricky Starks tag team bouts against Top Flight, with some concerns that Ricky Starks may have sustained an injury. We've got all the latest details when it comes to that. Speaking of the AEW World Tag Team Championship Tournament, FTR, they advanced to the next round. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal participants for WrestleMania SmackDown have been revealed. More details on Jade Cargill's stunning entrance last Friday night on SmackDown. Jerry the King Lawler undergoes major surgery, and Billy Gunn vs. Jay White is confirmed for next week's edition of AEW Dynamite. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, as he has put pen to paper and signed a new contract with World Wrestling Entertainment. This was something that had been heavily rumored and reported for quite some time. Now, several months following reports of Cody Rhodes agreeing terms on a new contract with WWE, the American Nightmare himself has now confirmed the news. Now, speaking in a new interview with Justin Walker, Cody revealed that he had recently signed a new deal with WWE. Now, while the specifics of the extension were not given, Cody stated that it will see him past the age of 40, with the former AEW star currently aged 38. Cody said when discussing his wrestling future, quote, "I can tell you 40 is out of the question, just because, not to give you a scoop, it was widely reported, but I did sign a new contract with WWE. It extends beyond my 40th birthday. The plan is still, when it's time to step out without it being a painful process, solely because I saw my dad as an old man wrestler and he loved it and enjoyed it, but as his son, it was hard to see. My daughter is 2 going on 3. There does have to be a time, just like he was with us, where I have to be home all the time and be there with her. It's not 40 anymore. I'll update the number. I hit the prime run late in the game. I often forget that I'm nearing 40. Of course, Cody has achieved great success since returning to WWE in 2022, winning back-to-back Royal Rumble matches in 2023 and 2024, and is currently set to main event his second straight WrestleMania in just a week's time. What are your thoughts on Cody Rhodes putting pen to paper on a new contract? And when do you think Cody Rhodes will retire? It's not going to be 40 anymore, so when do you think it is? Let me know your thoughts about that. Now, Matt Cardona made a shocking appearance on AEW television last night, the first time in close to 4 years that he's appeared on AEW TV. Now, after winning the TNT Championship on last week's edition of AEW Dynamite, Adam Copeland vowed to bring back the series of open challenges known as the Cope Open. On this week's episode of AEW Collision, Copeland was true to his word, and the challenge proved to be truly open when it was answered by the indie superstar known as Matt Cardona, who isn't currently under contract with AEW. Now, shortly after Cardona's shocking entrance, Fightful Select reported that the self-proclaimed Deathmatch King is still a free agent and has not signed an AEW deal. According to Fightful, the match with Copeland just came together this week and actually had an impact on another promotion's booking. Cardona was scheduled to defend his Squared Circle Expo Championship against Ultimo Dragon on Saturday, but instead he ended up dropping the title to fellow former WWE superstar Nick Nemeth on Friday before traveling to Canada for Collision and the match with Copeland, who ultimately defeated him after a back-and-forth match in which Cardona gave as good as he got. Now, Cardona, of course, wasn't just a random opponent for Copeland. The two have significant history in wrestling, dating all the way back to 2007 when they worked for WWE under the names of Zack Ryder and Edge. Cardona and his longtime tag team partner Kurt Hawkins, now known as Brian Myers in TNA Wrestling and on the independent circuit as well, were actually repackaged and given their original push as part of Copeland's La Familia stable when they frequently helped him retain the World Heavyweight Championship. Cardona and Myers would go on to win tag team gold twice in WWE, and Cardona would enjoy reigns with the Intercontinental and United States Championships before he was released in 2020. Now, since then, Cardona has been a force of nature on the independent scene, working for pretty much every promotion you can possibly think of, including briefly AEW back in 2020. It was really after AEW decided not to sign him to a longer-term contract that he really turned into the indie god known as Matt Cardona. Now, Cardona had, according to Fightful Select, told Fightful recently that there hadn't been much of a relationship or interaction with All Elite Wrestling since his initial appearances several years ago, close to 4 years ago now. So what are your thoughts on the open challenge? What are your thoughts on the reaction last night? Would you like to see Matt Cardona more frequently in AEW? Do you think it's just going to be a one-off? Let me know your thoughts and reaction in the comment section below about that. Now, it did lead to this match being announced for AEW Dynasty as well, involving the TNT champion. Now, on Saturday's AEW Collision, as I mentioned, it was announced that TNT champion Adam Copeland would be teaming with Mark Briscoe and Eddie Kingston to take on Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King, collectively known as the House of Black, at AEW's newest pay-per-view. Now, this confrontation was set up following Collision's opening match, which saw Copeland defeat Matt Cardona in an open challenge for the TNT title. After Copeland's victory, the lights went out in familiar fashion, and when they came back on, Malachi Black was in the ring. Copeland was then attacked from behind by Buddy Matthews. As the heels were laying waste to the TNT champion, Mark Briscoe ran down to help and was subsequently joined by Eddie Kingston, causing the House of Black to retreat, avoiding escalation. Later in the broadcast, Copeland was joined by Briscoe and Kingston backstage. They collectively challenged the House of Black to a match at Dynasty, and that match was soon made official. And when it comes to Briscoe and Kingston, they're going to face each other actually this coming Friday prior to Dynasty at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor show in Philadelphia, where Kingston will put his Ring of Honor World Championship on the line. Kingston and Briscoe faced each other several times in Ring of Honor tag team action about a decade ago, with Mark's late brother Jade by his side, while Kingston teamed with Homicide. Briscoe has also been engaged in an ongoing feud with the House of Black for months. Kingston, on the other hand, has very little history with the House of Black, while Copeland has no history at all with the 5 men in the match, though he did briefly share the ring with Black and interact with Matthews during the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble match in WWE. So what are your thoughts on this one? Are you looking forward to it? Do you think that we could possibly be seeing Adam Copeland versus Malachi Black in the future for the TNT Championship? Where do you think this one is going to go? Now, there was some concern last night when it comes to the welfare and status of Absolute Ricky Starks. Now, on last night's episode of Collision, Top Flight defeated Ricky Starks and Big Bill in what would many just describe as an upset in the AEW World Tag Team Championship tournament. But if you thought there was something off about the finish of the match, you'd be right to think that, because late in the contest, Starks rolled into a pinfall that he was clearly supposed to kick out of, but he didn't. Rather than count Starks' shoulders down for 3, the referee stopped counting, causing the London, Ontario crowd to erupt in boos. Starks then stood up, took a DDT, and was abruptly pinned by Darius Martin. Now, Fightful Select is reporting that not only was this not the original finish, but Starks and Big Bill were supposed to win the match and advance in the tournament, meaning an audible was called mid-match. Now, Fightful pointed out that the trainers checked on Starks after the bout, which you can see on the screen right here, and that Martin was visibly speaking to the referee during the pin. While Fightful did not confirm that Starks had been injured, the outlet did wish him a speedy recovery, which had caused quite a lot of speculation that Starks was legitimately injured. Now, when it comes to this, actually, Ricky Starks has since spoken out about his status on social media. He posted this right here on his Instagram story, because obviously fans were left understandably concerned by what transpired on Collision, but he did give a positive update. Via his Instagram stories, the AEW star gave the following report. He said, quote, "I'm all good, everything checked out fine, was just being precautious." Now, when it comes to this now, we have seen Top Flight advance in the tournament. We don't know what the longer term plans were for Ricky Starks and Big Bill, and if it's really affected things that much. Time will tell, we'll just have to wait and see. But what are your thoughts on how this all transpired last night? Let me know your thoughts about that too. Now, speaking of the Tag Team Championship tournament, we've got FTR advancing to the next round as well. Now, the first contest in the tournament of the evening saw former 2-time AEW Tag Team Champions FTR take on upstart team The Infantry, who worked their way into the main bracket of the tournament by upsetting the House of Black in the wildcard rounds. The match was fast and furious, but the top guys ultimately prevailed as Dax Howard and Cash Wheeler connected with the Shatter Machine for the victory. Of course, as I mentioned later on in the evening, that's when we had the Top Flight versus Big Bill and Ricky Starks match. FTR and Top Flight will now face one another in the semi-finals of the tournament, with the winner moving on to the inaugural AEW Dynasty pay-per-view on April 21st. Their opponents will be the winners of the other semi-final match between Best Friends and the Young Bucks. Should the Bucks and FTR find themselves moving on, they will meet in tag team action for the fourth time, with all four matches being contested for the AEW tag team titles. Interestingly, of course, had the original plan happened, it would have been Ricky Starks and Big Bill facing FTR, which would have been a rematch, of course, of when Big Bill and Ricky Starks won the tag team titles in the first place, squashing FTR on Collision several months ago. Now, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal is going to be taking place on WrestleMania SmackDown and not WrestleMania this coming week, which has been the case for the last several years. But several participants in this year's Andre the Giant Battle Royal have now been announced, with the annual tradition set to take place on the April 5th edition of SmackDown. As expected, WWE recently announced that the Andre the Giant Battle Royal would be making its return for the 10th year running on the WrestleMania 40 Go Home edition of SmackDown from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. While no competitors in the match were initially revealed with the original announcement, we've now learned the identities of much of the field courtesy of WWE. Now, the confirmed participants for the match thus far include Cedric Alexander, Ashanti the Adonis, Kit Wilson, Elton Prince, Cameron Grimes, Via, Sanga, Julius Creed, Brutus Creed, Ivar, Akira Tozawa, Otis, JD McDonough, Apollo Crews, Andrade, Ricochet, Chad Gable, Bronson Reed, Shinsuke Nakamura, and the Nigerian giant Omos. Now, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal was first introduced 10 years ago at WrestleMania 30 in 2014, with Cesaro being crowned the inaugural winner. Other previous winners of the bout include The Big Show, Mojo Rawley, Baron Corbin, Matt Hardy, Jey Uso, and last year's winner as well, Bobby Lashley. Now, although the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal once again finds itself off the WrestleMania card, it looks like, again, we're going to be having a couple more matches still set to be announced for the show. We covered that in another video, so be sure to check that out too. Now, Jade Cargill, she made her first appearance as an official member of the SmackDown roster this past Friday on SmackDown, and many people were talking about her grand entrance. A storm was coming, and now a storm is here. Many people were really taken aback by this spectacular entrance of the former AEW TBS champion, and we've got more details on how this entrance came together. Now, on March 29, on Friday Night SmackDown, Jade Cargill made her first appearance as a member of the Blue brand, and it came with a brand new entrance. Now, according to Fightful Select's Corey Brennan, he has been told by multiple WWE sources that Cargill's entrance has been one that's been worked on for quite some time, with multiple changes being made in the last few weeks. The entrance had input from all major producers in the company on angles, lighting, sound, and other factors as well. It was stressed that the entrance could see some changes, particularly at WrestleMania, with the foundation of the entrance expected to be established on SmackDown as well. So what did you make of that entrance, and would you like to see any tweaks, or were you happy with how it played out on TV? A bit of an update on Jerry the King Lawler, who over the last few years has had quite a number of health issues. Now, WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler recently underwent knee replacement surgery, according to PW Insider. Now, Lawler's health has been touch and go for the last few years, as I mentioned, suffering a second stroke in February last year, the effects of which required their own series of surgeries, but he has been recovering well since then. He suffered his first stroke in 2018, 6 years after having cardiac arrest live on WWE television. Now, surprisingly enough, the King has remained active in wrestling despite his long-standing health issues, wrestling as recently as January 2023. He even had a title run in Arkansas after putting his career on the line at 70 years old, lasting 121 days. But the Hall of Famer was last seen in WWE in November 2023, announcing competitors for the NXT Iron Survivor Challenge at Deadline, the latest of his sporadic appearances following his last full-time run as a commentator back in 2020. And Lawler is best remembered by WWE fans for his time behind the announce desk on Raw alongside fellow Hall of Famer good old JR Jim Ross as well. So we wish Jerry Lawler the best in his recovery from the replacement surgery. And finally, a match has been confirmed for this coming week's edition of AEW Dynamite on TBS. On last night's episode of Collision, the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn appeared for an in-ring interview to address Bullet Club Gold's invading Gunn's house on AEW Rampage on Friday. Now, part of their attempt at retribution will take place on this coming Wednesday's edition of Dynamite, as the former WWE Intercontinental Champion Billy Gunn faces Switchblade Jay White at the DCU Center in Worcester, Massachusetts on April 3rd. Now, this will be Gunn's first singles match since losing to Swerve Strickland back in October of 2022. The Acclaimed, Gunn, and Bullet Club Gold had recently been united in a supergroup called the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, but it was always going to be short-lived, of course. The Acclaimed and Billy Gunn currently hold the AEW World Trios Championships, while Bullet Club Gold's Jay White, Austin, and Colton Gunn are the Ring of Honor 6-man World Tag Team Champions as well. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming. If you come across this video today, be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.